Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I could stop at any time. Do 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 do
No,
do
you keep going.
do do do. I'm done.
You stop when I tell you to stop.
It doesn't work that way.
Ah, okay. Well, that was impressive in its own right. I don't think I could have gone for that long.
Well, it's a very repetitive theme tune, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. Okay,
The
welcome to
easy
Button Mash.
one.
Okay. Welcome to Button Mash Podcast. That was the Magic Roundabout. Sung by Michael.
Hello.
And we're joined this week by Will,
Hey, how's it going?
who makes his return from a couple of weeks back. He said he was going to be consistent and regular and then wasn't last week, so
No,
well played, sir.
maybe not consistent, but semi-regular.
Okay, cool. Well, we are the Button Mash Podcast. We are going to talk for somewhere around 2 hours about video games and video game accessories. And I'm going to kick things off with what sort of things we've been playing this week. And, Will, you've had a few things you've been going on and on and on about for the last few weeks, and then last week you didn't turn up to talk about them. So I'm going to point the finger at you for that one.
Okay. Well, I've only focused on Alien Isolation this week because it has captivated me so intensely.
Very excited for that one, weren't you?
I was so excited because I've been a massive Geiger fan since I was about 7 years old, although I wasn't allowed to watch the films until I was about 16. So I'm just replaying my childhood, really.
Fair enough. Is it true to the films, or
It is.
sort of, how does it work? I'm not that familiar with Aliens, so
For me, it's stupidly familiar with the films. They've got it all down to all the lovely button noises that everything makes, and all the chattering that the computers hum out, and all the lovely sort of late 70s techno wizardry that it's just hyper accurate all the way through.
cool. I've heard fairly mixed things about it. I've just heard some people going, "Oh yeah, there's not enough alien. I need more aliens." It's like a lot of wandering around and nothing much happens. So
In the beginning, it takes a long time for you to even catch your first glimpse of the alien. But to be fair, the ship that you're on, the Sevastopol, is made to house like thousands of people and commercial businesses. So if you don't run into it for a long time, I wouldn't be surprised, really.
I suppose that makes sense. But just from a gameplay perspective, it's kind of like, well,
Oh.
you'd sort of expect something to happen in a game.
You want what it does is it builds up a massive suspense. It holds your hand for the first sort of hour and a half, and takes you through everything that you need to do to survive. And then, as soon as you first meet the alien, everything that was helping you is suddenly stripped away, and you're on your own.
Well, to be fair, you never know what that alien does in his spare time. He doesn't spend all his time just stalking you. He might be doing taxes in the back room.
Well,
Just don't know.
there's plenty other survivors in this. That's, I think, where it differs mostly from the film, where there's sort of 5 or 6 people, but there's loads of survivors on the
I bet-
Sevastopol because lots of people were living there previously.
Can I say I admire your restraint in managing to not let Michael derail you there?
This is all I do. I derail people.
Fair enough.
I'm already feeling derailed. But yeah, the Nostromo in the first film is just like a mining vessel, and the Sevastopol in Alien Isolation is a much bigger ship, so there's more people. The alien isn't always after you, although sometimes it feels like it. Obviously, it is off, not doing taxes necessarily, but killing other people.
Okay.
So do you have to book an appointment for the alien to kill you? Is it?
No, it's very kind in its visits. Very, very frequent visits.
He's a
you have
considerate
to-
alien. I like this.
You do have to get into the game video the first hour and a half, 2 hours before it'll start, gnawing on your insides.
So when you say it's off killing other people, are there a lot of other people still on the ship then? I
There's
kind
a
of
fair
got the impression it
amount.
was like derelict or something. I don't know. I don't know these things. So.
There are times when it feels like you're the only person on the ship, but there are more survivors than I expected, and it's kind of a little bit Lord of the Flies, where everybody's just looking out for their own. They just surviving on their own and not letting anybody else interfere with what they're doing, their own little escape plans.
All right.
So obviously, most of the survivors that you meet are going to try and kill you. For me, the alien isn't the problem. I like the alien, but the survivors, they have guns. They're a lot more difficult to kill.
Right, so it's not just a case of you're fighting to survive the alien, you're also trying to survive the survivors.
Yes.
That's quite clever. I like that.
Okay, cool. That sounds quite interesting. Still don't necessarily know it's my kind of thing. I mean, I just don't really do horror, I guess.
How far have you got with it, Will?
I'm 8 hours in, and I'm probably almost halfway.
All right.
So it's got
a good bit of content, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a good bit of content, but it's also got DLC on the side. It's got
really after like 1 week, it's got DLC.
Yeah, it had a season pass, and I couldn't really resist.
Right.
It's got other missions like Crew Expendable and other stuff that I haven't tried yet because I'm really into the main narrative.
Okay, cool. You had some other stuff you've been banging on about. Evil Within, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Evil Within. I have not tried it yet, purely because I'm so engrossed with Alien.
Right. Okay. So
however, I'm sure
for next week. Yeah.
I'm sure before next week I'll have played a little bit of it, at least.
Alrighty, cool. And Hyperlight Drifter, you been playing that at all? Or?
I have. I've since last time I was on, I've managed to find, I think, 5 extra keys. I found the 4 keys that I need to unlock the main door, and I was really disappointed because all it does is take you in a big circle. It doesn't give you any extra content. It just gives you a little bit more visual of the environment. However, I think I've got another 5 or 6 keys to find before the end of the month when the beta runs out.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one because I mean I was looking at buying it myself, and then I was like, it seems to be this kind of limited early access thing. It's like buy it now and you can play it now, but in a couple of weeks we're gonna take it away from you. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that because I don't know. Maybe if I'd had the entire early access period, I might have gone with it. But just at this point, it's like, yeah, you can have a week and a half or so, whatever's left, and it's like, maybe not. Like, at this point, it might be worth just waiting for the game to come out.
Yeah, well, it only takes about an hour or so to fully get into the game and go around the whole map. It depends how good you are at the sort of top-down action shoot-em-ups.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's finding all the keys that take up the rest of the month really to find.
Okay, cool.
I'm hoping to get there before the end of the month, and I'm hoping it'll be more impressive than the other door.
Okay, fair enough. There is something else that did the rounds earlier. I can't entirely remember what it was called. Did I save it in my bookmarks? That would be interesting if I did. There was another game that did the rounds earlier in the week that looked very, very similar to it, and I can't entirely remember what it was called now, so it's going to bug me for a while.
Is there any way we can help you jog your memory there, John?
I don't know if you can. It was on Kickstarter, I know that much.
Think, man, think.
Well, it was... The problem is when I type Kickstarter into my search bar, I have viewed so many Kickstarters, it really doesn't actually help that much.
I have to keep away from Kickstarter because I love funding things. I don't know what it is, I just love funding on Kickstarter.
I mean, I don't know what it is about recently. I've kind of backed a bunch of stuff. I normally do try to stay away from it. Normally it's not too much of an issue, and then in the last month I've backed like a whole bunch of stuff. There is a board game that's going to end in, I don't know, is it a week or so? I'm not sure exactly. 11 days left on it, which is called Dragon Eye Tavern. I really want to I backed this at the top tier.
Yeah.
I got
How much was the top tier?
99 New Zealand dollars, which actually works out less than 50 quid.
Wow.
It's not bad.
That basically means I get to design a character that's in the game.
Oh,
Ooh.
sweet.
I'm totally going to design me. I don't know which incarnation of me. I don't know whether to get. I mean, I've got artwork and stuff of my Spiral Knights character, and I kind of like that character. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like a steampunk kind of thing would be more the route for me to go down.
No, not a Guybrush little avatar. No.
Oh god! Now I've got 3 choices. Thank you for that. Oh,
You're just
damn
gonna
it.
send in a photo of yourself, me character you make.
Basically, I don't know. No, like I say, I mean, obviously it's going to be stylized for it's set in a tavern. It's called Dragon Eye Tavern, and it's supposed to be like a fantasy bar game, basically. You know, swords and sorcery, Dungeons and Dragons type. Going to the tavern and adventures from all over the world, meeting and drinking mead and playing dice games, and this is one of them. And it comes with like 20 custom-made dice that look absolutely fantastic, and
Is that Kickstarter close to meeting its goal, do you know?
it has passed its goal. Its goal
Alright.
$6,000. It's at 7,000.
Oh, we like this. We like it when that happens.
Well, I heard about it because I backed the guy's previous project. He's done a bunch of fantasy coins that are designed just for whatever in games. It's not really for any specific game. It's just for in case you want to implement coins into Dungeons and Dragons or what have you. And it's like they look absolutely fantastic. They should be on their way to me like now. I think he just started shipping them on Friday, and that's kind of weird because he's kind of overlapped the projects there. So halfway through doing the Dragon Eye Tavern, he's kind of got 8 rather large, really heavy boxes. He took pictures of them and showed them on the updates. It's like, I look at these huge boxes all full of just, well, metal. It's like, I need to ship these out all over the world in the middle of doing my other Kickstarter. So he's like, you know what? Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock all the stretch goals for the Dragon Eye Tavern now, and that's to it. They're done. That's fine. I don't care how much we raise. You'll get all the stretch goals.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's really cool as well.
It's nice when people do it.
So he's clearly it doesn't cost him as much as it might let on with the stretch goals. Then, if you can afford to do that. So, oh well. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I get more stuff. It's like it was originally going to be about a 70 card deck. Now it's like pretty much doubled with all the stretch goals and stuff.
That's sweet.
And then I get the booster pack of 7. Is it 7 or is it 9 characters? One of which is mine, which is awesome. 9 it is. Yeah, I get a booster pack of 9 characters.
Wonder if you'll have some special abilities.
Well, that is part of the character design thing, I think. That is part of it. I don't know enough about the mechanics of the game to be able to do that well. I don't think. I guess you'd have to actually, sit down and talk to the guy and like, look, how do you play this game? Can we sort of figure this one out? Can I
shoot fire out of my eyes? That kind of deal.
Yeah, basically, it's like what things are available within the scope of this game? What kind of mechanics are we looking at? Is eyeball fire a reasonable thing to incorporate?
Yeah.
Just in case
it's always a reasonable thing to incorporate, John. It's never in doubt.
Okay, well, we'll go with that. I don't know if that's sort of a thing for Guybrush. I like the idea of a Guybrush character now, I really do. What would Guybrush's power be? Holding his breath for 10 minutes? Or just sword fighting insults?
I've forgotten too much of the game. It's been a long time.
Well, I'm playing through it at the minute for my Patreon one, so I'm really enjoying that.
God.
Maybe every time he makes an insult, your soul just dies a little bit and you lose the will to defend yourself.
That is... You've never played Monkey Island, have you? But it's literally the mechanic, pretty much.
It's transferable.
That is how the sword fighting works in Monkey Island. You insult the opponent, and if they don't have a comeback, you win the fight.
Problem solved.
Which is why I think that would be quite a funny one. Oh, I wonder if you could actually incorporate the insult mechanic into the game somehow. Play so many shards of fire and insult your opponent, and your opponent needs to come up with a pithy comeback. Or you steal their dice or something, I don't know.
Write that down.
I don't even know if these are reasonable mechanics to go in the game. I'm just speculating random shit here.
Keep us updated on what you do decide to do with it, because we're interested now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm probably sort of thing I would want to do like an unboxing video for if when it arrives. Don't know when that's going to arrive.
Would you film that by any chance?
That would be the point of making a video, yes.
Where could people go to watch this video?
That was a slightly elaborate segue, but go on, I'll give you it. That's youtube.com/button mash empire.
Yeah, thank you. When you give them on a plate, something like that. Thank you, I appreciate it.
I still can't find the Kickstarter I was looking for, though.
Well, while we're talking about Kickstarter, you mentioned the other week human resources.
Oh, yes.
And I was so amazed by beating giant robots with buildings that I funded it, and now it looks like it's not going to happen.
Oh, is it not?
No.
I haven't really kept an eye on that one.
They've sent 3 or 4 campaign updates saying if things don't pick up, they're just going to pull the project.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think they're making less than 40k a day, and the goals that they need to now fund it is something like 60 or 70k a day, and it's just not going to happen.
Right, yeah, I've got it up here. They've got plenty of support for it. It's over 9,000 backers. Yes, but that only accounts to $370,000 when they're aiming for 1.4 mil.
Yeah, the problem is that they've got such a massive goal to reach.
Problem is they've got such a massive team that needs paying for. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was such a shame if this doesn't get made.
It does look like a really interesting thing. In fact, I didn't pick up on the fact that it was sponsored immediately, but they did do a sponsored video with Hey Ash, What You Playing? If you're familiar with that YouTube series.
I'm not actually.
It's Ashley Birch is the sister of the guy who does the writing for Borderlands, and between them they do like a comedy series on YouTube and have been doing for some time.
Oh, sweet.
And it's gone quiet lately, and they used to do them like, I don't know, probably once every week, every fortnight or something, fairly regularly, and they haven't made any in ages, and then it's just once in a blue moon there'll be something really painfully obviously sponsored pops up, and this one was like, oh my god, check out this Kickstarter, oh my god, Uber Entertainment, the guys who made Monday Night Combat and Planetary Annihilation are doing this Kickstarter, it looks really great, you should go check it out. It's like, that's so paid for.
Oh dear me.
I know. And then like the second, because it's obviously normally they're working with material of games that actually exist. When they're just doing the Kickstarters, like the second half of the video just devolved into mocking, parodying. I don't know. It was fairly complimentary, I suppose. The team's community manager, and it was like, I don't know where this is going. This is a bit weird. It's like, well, obviously there's no gameplay to actually work with at this stage. All they can do is work with what they've got, I guess.
Well, work with what you've got.
Work with what you've got, indeed. What if I type in Kickstarter that looks like Hyperlight Drifter?
Are you still looking for this?
Yes!
Well, why are you looking?
I'm interested because I love games like Hyperlight Drifter.
It did sound really good. I didn't actually back it at the time, which is why I kind of want to go back and have a look for it now. No, it's just bringing up Hyperlight Drifter now. I want one that looks like it.
Why don't you try searching for the theme of the game?
I don't think that would work so well. I will. I'll tell you where I found it originally, though. It was on Reddit that I found it, on the indie gaming subreddit. I feel like surely to God, I should be able to find it.
You off to Reddit then, John?
I'm on Reddit, yes.
Great.
A list of great ongoing indie games on Kickstarter. That seems like a list that would work for me.
So if you're interested in backing indie games, that's where to go.
That thread, yeah. So I don't know if they do this as like a monthly thing or a weekly thing or whatever. It's the first time I've seen it, to be honest. So that was... what the hell was it called? There's a really long list. God damn it. You guys keep going on without me. I'm going to find this. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Oh dear. Oh well, the Alien game. How's that going?
It's very bloody and often ends in me being impaled.
Has any aliens come out of anybody's chest yet? Or are you still waiting
No,
for that?
it's so far it's just the one alien, and that's terrifying enough.
Is it using any of the characters from the original Alien series then? That they make pop
No,
up?
no, it's set 15 years after the first Alien film,
Alright.
and consequently, Aliens 2 is something like 42 years after the game. So
It's between 1 and 2, yeah.
yeah. You're playing Ellen Ripley's daughter, Amanda Ripley.
Alright,
So
that's
she's
quite-
obviously looking for a mother who disappeared in cryosleep.
Alright, cool. That sounds good.
I have it.
You have it.
Border Remembrance is called. Ooh, got a loud jump of static there. Hello? Did someone die?
No.
I think that's just the surprise that you found it.
Okay. Yes, Border Remembrance is the title. It's not doing
I'm
amazingly
looking
on
for it now.
Kickstarter. It's currently at £584 of a £3,000 goal, with
How
16
long's
days
left?
to go.
Well, it's doable, I guess.
It's certainly doable, but it needs to get a little bit more attention, I suppose, in order for that to happen.
So,
It does look
What was it called
gorgeous.
again?
Border Remembrance.
well, let's do a hard sell on it. John, tell us about the game. What's it offering?
It's offering similar kind of stuff to Hyper Light Drifter, I think. It looks very similar, it seems very similar. It's kind of, same kind of thing, I think, to be honest. If you like that really pretty, someone spent far too much time doing pixel art kind of thing, yeah, it looks really gorgeous. It's a huge... They're saying it's in a Metroidvania thing, but the entire world is like pretty much hand-drawn. They're doing a huge open world kind of big explory thing, and it's just all done in hand-drawn pixel art stuff. There's no tiles and repeated things, no copy pasting. It's all just. It looks phenomenal.
It looks a lot more detailed than Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah. Some of the gifs they've got. It's like you're looking at. It's like that looks so pretty.
Although I reckon before it's finished, Hyperlight Drifter will look a lot better than it does at the moment. Oh, I may have to back this, even though they're only a sixth of the way through.
What do you normally hold off until it's bagged or something until it's finished before it's bagged? Before you
No,
back it?
obviously with human resources, I just give me all your money and
Right. Okay. I really shouldn't, because I don't have the money to keep backing all the bloody things.
no,
But
I
at the
don't
same
either.
time-
This is why I don't look at Kickstarter. if something comes by my newsfeed, I'll may have a look at it if I know I have the money.
We really need to stop doing these Kickstarter bits, because then we keep sharing interesting ones with each other and going, ooh, that looks really good.
Considering 2 weeks ago we had a big rant about Kickstarter.
I know, right?
We're such hypocrites.
Yeah. But these are really good ones. These are okay.
Yeah.
That makes it alright then.
I don't know. I suppose, like I say, yeah, or as always, caveat emptor, buyer beware, and whatnot. I mean, with something like Human Resources, that is a team that are extremely well established. It's people who've come from making stuff like Total Annihilation, and they've obviously recently done Planetary Annihilation. They know what they're doing with RTS, and they've delivered big projects before, very big projects on the scale of millions of pounds. They know what they're doing.
Well, maybe before investing, just check the developer and the history and make sure.
Yeah, of course, that's
not a dumb idea.
Yeah, that's just a sort of standard thing you really should be doing with these kind of things. And honestly, no, I haven't done that with Border Remembrance. I'm afraid I've not really done my research on. I don't know what. It says it's project by Istvan Gal. I presume that's not this studio. Fallen Valkyrie Studio. I don't know what they've done before, if anything. Should not be terribly hard to find out, but yeah, just check out and see what they've done before. Their website seems to predominantly focus on Border Remembrance, to be fair. But at the same time, you can see the work that's already in the game. They've got samples of the art and the sound, and there's plenty to see. They've got videos of gameplay and stuff, so you can check it out and see what's going on with that. And from that, you should be able to make a judgment as to whether you think they're capable of finishing the project.
Well, considering that you can pledge £5 and get the game, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it's also it's easy to buy into as well. Yes, it's not a major commitment of your life.
No, but that's probably why they're quite low on their funds at the moment, is because the game is very cheap.
That is true. A lot of people will be going, oh well, I'll just get the game for £5, and well, that's great. Sure, you'll get the game for £5, but well, if they succeed, they need quite a lot of those £5 in order to succeed in the first place.
Mm. If there's an art book, I usually go for the art book tier because I like seeing concept sketches.
Right. So yeah, there is also, what was it, beta access for £25, alpha access for £30. So it does say.
And I do like playing betas too.
Yeah, well, alphas are a bit more. I don't know. It's kind of weird paying more for a product that has less in it. It's like, I understand how that works with Kickstarter. You're adding extra support, so they're giving you more back. But at the same time, the idea of you're paying more for a product that's not finished and is even less likely to be working and has longer to go, therefore more risk of it not being finished, seems like kind of a slightly counterintuitive thing to do.
Yeah, but the appeal of that is that you then get a say on how the game's being developed. You can give feedback as to how you think it should work.
This is certainly true. Well, depends on the developer, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Some devs are like, yeah, sure, tell us what you think and we'll listen to you. Others might just sort of say, yeah, you can play it. We're not going to listen to you, but you can play it. Everybody's different, I guess.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think this is probably one to keep an eye on. It doesn't seem like they're probably not too far off done with it. I mean, they're saying estimated delivery for finished game March, and obviously they're only looking for $3,000. Not even dollars, pounds, sorry. Which sort of implies. Money. Yes, real money, not that Mickey Mouse money.
That damn mouse, he caused inflation.
When you see these little ones, it's like it often seems like it's just kind of trying to get over that final hurdle. It's, look, we're a small team and we just need something so that we can afford to focus on this full time for the last 5 months or so. Although even that, £3,000 not dollars, pounds, £3,000 for 5 months or so. It seems like that would have to be like a one-man team to be able to do that. It may be a one-man team. I don't know how big. What was their name? Fallen Valkyrie, was it? Fallen Valkyrie. I don't know how big that team is. It may not be a team. It may be one person.
Well, they're a very talented person if that's the case.
There are some obnoxiously talented people in this world.
Yeah.
The guy that did, was it? I was talking about it very recently. Dust and Elysian Tale. That was like almost entirely done by one person. That's a ridiculously good game. So some people are unfairly gifted with talent, I think.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Hey, share the talent out, guys. We need some. That's that. Anyone else been playing anything interesting? So that was what I was supposed to be talking about before we started trying to sell unfinished products to people.
Well, Buttermash brought you by Kickstarter.
Should get a sponsorship from them, yes.
Well, I haven't really had too much chance to play Football Manager this week. I've had 2 games.
Alright, did you win them?
No.
Okay then.
That's not too thrilling an update to provide.
I suppose what we could talk about is the games that we played at Button Mash 9.
Ooh, what a segue.
Well, someone had to do it, and you weren't providing it, so
I was waiting for my opening, damn it.
That was your opening, and I took it.
Yes, no, let's discuss Buttermash 9, which people could find details out by going to where, John?
Presumably the best place for that would be Facebook, which would be facebook.com/buttonmash.
There's no Twitter that they could go to, is there?
If they would get less details on the event, but yes, they can go to twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
Good, we plugged it.
Because obviously our Facebook has access to Facebook events, which is where you would find details on an event, such as the event that we just ran.
But where to look for when we run events in the future?
Which we will be doing, because I think we can consider this latest one a success.
I would consider it a success.
had a good turnout, and people were happy.
Which is
Nobody left
generally
unhappy
success.
that I'm aware of. If they did, they didn't say.
Everyone's just outside selling and going, there wasn't enough Street Fighter. But no, we're genuinely grateful to everybody that came down to the event yesterday and made it such a lovely atmosphere.
Yes, thank you to everyone.
There's some brilliant cosplays as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes, some great stuff this time. Presumably there will be, if you go follow our Facebook, which we've already plugged, there should be photos of that going up in the very near future. I believe some of the other guys have been talking about, touching them up, doing the colour correction and whatnot on them today, so they should be going up in the very, very near future.
Yeah, well, look out for your lovely faces on Facebook.
You'll find your face in the book.
Oh, I saw what you did there.
Yes. A clever play on words. A pun.
Good show, sir. Good show.
So we had... tell you what I enjoyed from that, Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was very good at the end of the night, yes.
We had Crypt of the Necrodancer with the dance mat. I didn't know that even worked, and then there was some guy who was like, oh yeah, it totally works, just plug it in and do this and do this and do this, and it works. And it's like, this is the same dance mat I had already plugged into my own computer, the one I am recording on at this moment in time, and had not terribly great success with in the past, because previously they were like, it's an old dance mat, it's one of the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 ones, and you have to use a USB converter thing for it, and some of the button combos just didn't work. Like if you press up and down together, it just kind of, it treats it as like an analog stick basically, so it's like analog stick up and analog stick down, and with the traditional analog stick you can't do both at the same time.
That was my first time playing it yesterday.
How do you like it?
It's tiring.
Well, it is on a dance mat. It's less so on an Xbox pad. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I don't think I particularly was good at directions.
I don't think anybody was particularly on the dance mat, because I don't think any of us are particularly dance mat veterans.
You say that, sir.
But I'm glad they seem to have got that fixed, because, yeah, like I said, the old dance mats, I asked the developer on Reddit when he was doing like a Q&A thread, I was like, I'm having trouble with this dance mat, does it just not work? Is it, yeah, a lot of the old ones, the game just, it doesn't like the analog stick up and down thing together, it can't do that, and it worked fine yesterday, so I guess that's okay. And it's a bloody good workout, yes, I'll give it that. And you really, really do need to play it. Who was playing on it? Someone was playing on just the ordinary mode. When I was like, "There's a dance mat mode. You should be going on the dance mat."
That
mode.
was me.
Alright. It's just like, yeah, the dance mat mode. It's still hardcore mode, but it gives you a broadsword and a healing spell and a freeze spell and 5 health instead of going in with a dagger and 2 health. It's like when you're on a dance mat, especially if you're not very, very familiar with the dance mat, you bloody need that.
And thank you to everyone who entered the mashup tournaments too.
Oh yes, our mashup tournament sponsored by Forbidden Planet Leeds. As we're giving one last shameless plug.
Way to get that in. But no, seriously, thank you to Forbidden Planet for sponsoring the event and giving away a very generous amount of prizes to our winners.
Yeah, that was awesome, and I think everybody went away happy with those. Everyone seemed pretty bloody pleased with that stuff. So that was cool. I like seeing happy faces, that's what we're all about.
So hopefully we'll be running another event in the new year at some point, but please stay tuned to Facebook for details on that.
I've already been speculating on dates, but I probably will wait for some sort of official announcement before I say anything publicly.
Yep, that might be an idea.
But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for the new year. There'll be something coming out. Hopefully not too distant future.
Vagueness.
Yay, vagueness. We get to be professional. Vague is professional, right?
Yeah, well, I've heard rumours that there's.
Cool.
So what have you been playing this week? Oh, Captain, my Captain.
I played a lot of WildStar, and I made my subscription for the 3rd month now. That's got its hooks into me. That's a new World of Warcraft for me now. There's no escape. Well, I feel like I should, in the long run, end up spending less on it than I would World of Warcraft because of the in-game purchase, in-game time thing. I still have not got enough money to pay for 1 month. I've nearly got there. At the same time, it's like, it's 15 platinum and I've got like just shy of 14, and I'm like, do I really want to spend all of the money that it's taken me over 2 months to earn at this point, just for 1 month more playtime? And at that point, I'm not going to be able to afford anything in-game whatsoever. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with that. It was like, I could just pay a tenner and I could just keep playing. Yeah, that could work.
That's a
It doesn't
dangerous
sound
step.
unreasonable for a month.
Sorry?
It doesn't sound unreasonable for a month.
Well, I'll be honest, the official price is supposed to be £12, but I found a store on eBay that does them for a tenner. It's like, well, that guy's cheap.
Yeah.
I'll take the cheap ones, thanks, guys.
You're everything I hate.
I am, yes, I am everything that is wrong with the gaming industry.
Ooh.
It's terrible, I know. I know we've spoken about key resellers in the past, but I don't think eBay stuff like that. I don't know how that one can possibly work. How can they be buying them cheaper and selling them for a profit? I don't even know how that can possibly work. When one considers the only source for those keys would literally be Carbine, and Carbine have never put them on sale. They must literally have bought them from the developer, and then reselling them on eBay. I'm not entirely certain how that one can work, but if they're willing to sell it for £2 less than the actual developer, hey, I'll go with it.
That's right, John. You justify it.
It is. I don't know where it came from. It fell off the back of a truck, but that's not my problem.
Ooh.
There was a lorry going through Albania full of WildStar game cards, and they fell off the back of the truck and ended up in a key seller on eBay.
And you weren't just there at the time, buying a shifty tenner at a shifty man.
I just went down to the back street of some guys. You want to buy WildStar Game Time? Trench coat, opens it up, there's just game cards. And a few watches.
Oh, the guy from Sesame Street, was it?
I have no idea to what you're referring, to be quite honest.
There's an infamous segment on Sesame Street where there's a guy in a trench coat and he's offering Ernie, asking him if he wants to try the letter O.
Right, okay.
So,
I feel like the shady backstreet dealer in the trench coat is a fairly common stereotype anyway, which is to what I was alluding, not specifically Sesame Street. I suspect they were playing on that as well. But that's weird in its own right.
not that we encourage stereotyping here on Button Mash.
I just think it's very bizarre that a children's cartoon would allude to a letter of the alphabet being equivalent to illicit drugs or bootleg gear.
Go watch Sesame Street in the 1970s. It is truly terrifying.
Oh, we're talking 70s TV again, right? Okay, fair enough. 70s TV.
It's the best TV.
I also played a bunch of speedrunners yesterday at Button Mash. That was a fun game.
I had a go at this myself. It's I didn't quite understand it until my turn was over, unfortunately.
Oh right. Oh, you were in the tournament, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I was.
You turned up as a guest and played in the tournament, which at this point makes it sound like we rigged the contest because you took part in things.
No, I
to be
am
fair,
very
he was
much.
eliminated in both the first round, so
Both
wasn't
of
that
the first
favourable.
rounds, rather embarrassingly.
So it wasn't that rigged.
No, I am, as far as Button Mash is concerned, I'm a backseat driver. Occasionally I'll chip in a little bit here and there.
So how was your? Yeah, I guess like you say, you kind of figured it out afterwards. I mean, how was your experience with it?
It is fun. It definitely is a multiplayer game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. I feel like it works. It's probably very good as couch co-op. I mean, I've played a bunch online, but yeah, if you got people with you next year, it's very good.
Oh, definitely.
And I know they're doing. I should also, whilst we're doing promos for everything and everyone, they're doing like a thing at the minute. So I think they're selling 2 DLC packs based on famous YouTubers, which is kind of amusing. And a lot of the proceeds for that are going to charity for cancer research. So if you want to have that fluffy Japanese cat character, I think has been reskinned as Jesse Cox. I think. So if you want to play that, yeah, that's the thing. And the unicorn, I think, is PewDiePie. and there's a whole bunch of others, and I don't know what they are. There's Dodger is some kind of fox character, obviously, but which character that's based off of, I haven't got a clue. So, so if you want Jesse Cox, Dodger, PewDiePie, Markiplier, etc., etc., other people whose names I don't remember, reskins, they're there for like £2 a pack, which is pretty okay. And proceeds go to cancer research, so that's kind of cool as well.
So, go now.
Go buy things. I've been playing a spot of Poltergeist, which I should be probably doing a review for later this week. Which I was kind of, at first I was like, oh no, someone sent me a horror game to review. We know what I do with horror games. I ruin them. I ruin horror games. I was like, it's not actually, it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game where you... Yes, it's a puzzle game where you play as the ghost. And you have to scare people out of the house.
Is that a puzzle?
Yeah, actually, it is, because people have different tolerances for scaring, and you have a limited amount of scaring power. So you need to manipulate people via scaring them into different places so that you can scare people as efficiently as possible.
So if you just appeared as a ghost and started doing the Charleston in front of some, that might not work.
Well, it's Poltergeist. It's all picking up and throwing things around the house, to be honest. The only time you actually get to appear in front of anyone is the boss characters. The boss characters have a special thing where the only way you can scare them out of the house is by physically appearing, so that's kind of just more of a gimmicky kind of thing. It's not really an interesting power, but it's there. Everyone else, it's just like, oh, there's a chair here. Why don't you pick up the chair and throw it across the room? And people in there will be scared. And then there's like special characters that can counteract specific powers. So if you try to, say, possess someone, there's like some mediums who will go, oh, you're being possessed, and go zoom, zap you and stop you possessing them, which means you don't scare anyone in the room and you waste your powers. And honestly, at that point, you probably restart the level because it's very well tuned. It's like you're going to need all those powers executed in the right place at the right time for this to work. There's no superfluous stuff.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's a puzzle game, is what it is, I guess. It's not. It's got its own thing going on. It's got a weird hybrid of 2D pixel art and 3D voxel art going on, which is just very bizarre. All the characters in the game, the people, the dogs, whatever, everything is done in the 2D pixel art style, and they run around the house and scream and run out the house in a 2D style. But then all the objects in the house are 3D and have actual physics on them, so when you pick something up and throw it across the room, it can crash into other objects and knock it over and stuff. Which is... I don't know, it's a weird style. I guess it kind of works, but in a weird kind of way. It's very difficult to describe.
So it's a bit like I forgot the name of it, but it's the Ellen Page game that was on the PS3 recently. Beyond. I
don't know what you're talking about, so I don't know that game.
She has the ghost of a dead brother who's kind of like a poltergeist, and he does stuff to help you win the game of that nature.
I have no idea. Unless you throw a name of the game at me. I don't know.
It has Ellen Page and William Dafoe. Yeah, I think it's Beyond Two Souls or something.
Oh, right. I know the name of the game. I can't say I know a whole lot about it, so that doesn't mean a lot to me, to be fair. But I will take your word for it.
That nuclear bombed.
Yes, it did. Oh well.
Let's move on.
Let us move on. To be fair, with a lot of the button mash stuff, I haven't had a whole heck of a lot of chance to play stuff either, so not a lot. I played some Little Inferno on my phone, because that's a fun little thing that I could do now that I have a decent phone. It involves burning things. But we did this last week. Burning.
Yeah, I think we established the fact that you are a hidden arsonist.
So yeah, honestly not a whole heck of a lot to report on my end. I've got several things that I'm supposed to be reviewing in the very near future that I haven't actually started playing yet, so I'm probably going to be starting to play that as soon as we finish this podcast, to be honest, just so that I've got something to review tomorrow.
So the best of this podcast seems a bit little Kino why.
Anyway, I mean, if we want to wrap things up on this part of the show a little bit early, I mean, I am still, to be fair, exhausted from yesterday, so I wouldn't object to a slightly shorter show.
Oh, fair play.
Well, to be fair, if we haven't played anything, we can't really carry on, can we?
We can drag things out and ramble and derail. We're good at that.
That's what gaming news is.
Right. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave that one there for now. Let's take a brief break for a moment, and when we come back, we shall have a look at some of the latest gaming news and releases for the week.
Button Mash Podcast is back.
Welcome back to Button Mash Podcast. We talk about video games and video game accessories. We're going to do some gaming news for you.
No, gaming news and gossip.
I like that it's expanded into and gossip.
I'm trying to stretch it out, damn it.
No, it seems more like it's a commentary on the fact that mostly all we do is speculate about people's personal lives.
Yeah, well, this is the handicap of reporting on gaming news. I think a lot of it is opinion and subject to rumor, which is somewhat unfortunate.
Well, from my perspective, I do feel like a lot of the gaming news is just like non-story stuff. I mean, obviously, gaming sites do report on every bloody last tiny tidbit of anything about any game anywhere, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, we know that highly anticipated game released one single extra screenshot. It doesn't need an article dedicated to it, but at the same time, most of the actual stuff that actually seems even slightly different to that, when it pops up, we're like, ooh, something that isn't a new screenshot from highly anticipated game 27. It's usually something about someone rather than something.
When is highly anticipated game 27 coming out, John? Is that on Steam releases?
It'll probably be on the front page of Steam. I'm quite sure they'll be selling it to you. You'll be able to pre-order it 6 months in advance. For an extra $10, you can have the limited edition digital package.
Not that you're jaded or cynical or anything.
Only 1,000 copies available because it's limited and digital, obviously.
Are those 1,000 just available to the people who backed it on Kickstarter?
No, there's an entirely different package available to the Kickstarter backers. And if you go into Game, the store, you can get their special pre-order package as well. It's a different coloured gun.
Okay. Let's move
How
on.
jaded and cynical can we get? Or at least me, anyway.
This is becoming an entirely new segment.
Anyway, let's talk about something that's actually a thing. How about? So, Anita Sarkeesian is making headlines once again.
Shock horror.
Yes, this seems to be a kind of a thing that she does. So, she was scheduled to speak at Utah State University at some point earlier this week. And one of our fun Gamergate crowd decided what he would do was he would send a message to the university saying, I'm going to bring guns and pipe bombs to the auditorium and blow everyone up if she's allowed to speak. Please cancel her speech.
Which is a completely sane and reasonable way of approaching.
That's obviously exactly how any normal person would approach it, yeah. I'm surprised they don't have 350 people with pipe bombs in there. No, that's... It was forwarded to the authorities. The university did say, hey, look, we've got this bomb threat at our university, and the police investigated and said, look, we honestly don't think this is actually a credible threat. We don't think he's likely to do anything. We're not going to provide any extra security. We're not going to check people. We're not going to do anything, and nothing else is going to happen. So the plan was to carry on business as usual, with 350 people potentially about to explode.
Well, to be fair to the police force, I can kind of understand why they came to that decision. It did sound like it was just a 14-year-old kid that went, I don't want it to talk. Look at me, I can use Twitter.
Okay, accurate
That's how I think
portrayal, I
14-year-old.
suspect. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. That's probably actually the situation. It probably genuinely is what happened, and that's probably why the police came to the conclusion that they did. But at the same time, when we're talking about explicitly risking the lives of 350 people, you'd probably prefer to err on the side of caution, I would have thought.
Well, would it have been that horrendous to just have a guy on the door, maybe just checking people's bags?
Probably not, no, which is why it's so strange that they wouldn't go and do something like that. But they did not. So the speech was in fact cancelled, but not by a university or anyone. It was cancelled by Anita, again, not for any particular, by her claims, not out of any fear for personal safety, but because of the threat of the killing 350 innocent people, it seemed like a pretty reasonable, and she was, again, not happy with the security that was going to be provided. On top of that, we also got, it was Utah State University, and apparently Utah State's gun laws are stupid as fuck, I think is what I would describe it as, speaking as a British person.
The views of the Bun and Mash host look
pretty consistent with the rest of Button Mash in this case, I suspect.
Yeah, no, we completely agree with you, but there may be some gun that's listening to this that we're trying not to offend.
We don't want to offend that minority of British gun nuts. Okay.
So, yeah, but we do apologise, but you are fundamentally wrong.
You're entitled to your opinions, but your opinions are wrong. Is where we're at.
Yep. I'm glad we established that.
So Utah State basically forbids the law, the government, the authorities, the powers that be from forbidding anyone to carry a gun into a public space. And the university, the Utah State University (USU) is classified as a public space. People are allowed to go into university. People are allowed to go into this auditorium and listen to Anita Sarkeesian speak. It is a public space. Therefore, the police, the government, the university, whoever, have zero power under law to say, yeah, you can't bring a gun in here, guys. Even when someone has explicitly said, I'm going to bring a gun in there and I'm going to shoot everyone, they still can't turn around and say, you know what? No, you're not allowed to bring your gun in there. Law says that guy that just threatened to kill everyone, he's allowed to bring the gun in because my freedoms and all that.
Well, you never know, a bear might attack.
Yeah, one might need to defend oneself.
I think that's the main issue of the Constitution, isn't it? That allows you to have a gun.
The right to arm bears and all that, yes.
Yeah, a bear with a shotgun, killing machine.
There's a game in that. There's definitely a game in that.
Yeah, well, I'm claiming the copyright on that one.
Well, get it made. Get learning Unity and get making a game.
Jafari Safari first.
Okay. The Right to Arm Bears, the sequel to Jafari Safari. There's a sentence I hadn't expected to say today, by the way.
It all ties together. It's under the same franchise.
You have to speak to Disney to that one for that one, surely.
I don't know if I change the names slightly.
Oh, right.
Like, hey, look, it's Barladin.
Yeah, about that. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, because you thoroughly derailed me there, thank you.
No problem, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it's goddamn stupid, and obviously if someone's threatening to go in with a gun and murder people, obviously the reasonable act for the police force and for the government to do, or for the university, or whoever has power within those halls, is to turn around and say, you know what, nobody's allowed to bring guns in, we're going to check everyone and we're going to take your guns off you if you try and bring them in. I mean, I believe, call me out for making straw man arguments if you will, but to be fair, I've actually seen people on the internet argue this week, is that if everybody else was allowed guns, they would be able to defend themselves if a gun nut started shooting. If one person brought a gun in and nobody else did, he would shoot everyone and nobody would be able to defend themselves. If everybody else in all had a gun, they would all be able to shoot him dead.
So wait, let me work this out. If there's one guy with a gun and he starts firing in an auditorium of 350 people, it never occurs to, say, on odds, maybe 50 to 70 people that might be behind this guy or to the side to think, maybe I should grab him.
I think more than that, the greater concern is, in that scenario, I think most people probably aren't all that inclined to be a hero unarmed against a guy with a deadly weapon, but...
Hit him with a chair.
I'll say my more concern is this guy's threatening to bring pipe bombs and whatever into an auditorium. And it's like, well, if if these people are aware that this kind of thing is potentially going to go down and have brought their guns in self-defense for themselves, and you got a bunch of people, or quite a lot of people in an auditorium, all carrying concealed handguns, all sat there sort of expecting. We know there's some guy who's claiming to have pipe bombs who's going to start throwing them around the room. And they see someone just rummaging around in a backpack. And someone's like, oh shit, that's the terrorist, open fire, and suddenly you've got 350 people, many of them armed with guns, all opening fire wildly in an auditorium, I think is a very reasonable and likely outcome for that. You're just going to create a bloodbath, quite frankly.
The Butter Mash Podcast, brought to you by the NRA.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't think guns are reasonable, but I'm from a country that doesn't think guns are particularly reasonable, because most people, the general public, are not marksmen and cannot be trusted to use them in a reasonable fashion. I mean, I know they give you some kind of gun training, but I've also heard some very terrifying stories about people who have gone and just got guns and had no real training whatsoever. Most people are not well trained to aim a gun accurately at long range to debilitate people, and quite frankly, one of the general rules around guns is if you're firing to kill. These are people who are allegedly firing to kill people in a crowded room. It's not going to end well. It can't.
Well, I think maybe we should tie this up as this. Look, we appreciate that most Americans aren't going to walk around shooting people. We appreciate that, but it is a possibility, and we are of a country that doesn't allow guns, and it's just the views of our podcast hosts that it shouldn't be allowed, or it should be regulated.
I love that you feel the need to pander to everybody, but okay.
Well, it's what? Hey, listen, there's a good chance an American might listen to this.
I think there probably is a reasonable chance, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, obviously understand our background, where we're coming. We're coming from a country that does have gun regulation, and guess what? Because as a result of gun regulation, there is very little gun crime. Very, very few people actually do get shot in the UK because nobody has guns, because you can't buy them over here.
I think we're realistic. We appreciate that. In a hall in Utah, it's a very unlikely all 350 people are going to walk in with a gun.
No, I'm not saying all 350 people are going to walk in there with a handgun, all of them completely untrained in using guns. But I was just, out of 350 people, if we're talking about a reasonable proportion of people all with concealed carry, not all of them are necessarily going to be particularly well trained. How many of them are regularly trained, even if they have been trained? How many was, when they picked up that gun, it was like 8 years ago when they got that gun. They've been carrying it around ever since and never had any situation where they've been called on to use it. That's fine, sure. People pick stuff up for self-defense years in advance, and maybe most people never even need to use it once. And some people will be like, oh yeah, 8, 10, 15 years down the line, it's like suddenly some situation comes up where some idiots threatening to throw pipe bombs around. It's like, I better bring my gun, I might need that. But guess what? They're a bit rusty about it, and it's just a tragedy asking to happen, quite frankly, I think, in this kind of situation. And this is exactly the kind of situation where people claim that a lack of gun control, as it were, is a good thing. It's like, those people can stop the criminals. It's like, no, they wouldn't. They might if they're really lucky, but in all likelihood, there's a very, very good chance it's just going to cause greater tragedy. Especially in a crowded place like this. We're talking about an auditorium full of people.
I think we may have covered this quite now.
Yeah, we've probably gone a bit off topic as well with it a bit, but I don't know.
Opinions, views.
It's to tie it back into the gaming thing. This is the thing the gaming media is focusing on very explicitly with Gamergate as well, and it's as a part of the whole Gamergate thing. This is the side of things. It's like, you're either with Anita Sarkeesian or you're with the guy who's threatening to blow up auditoriums full of people, and it's like the problem is that this as an issue, it keeps popping up every week. Quite frankly, there's new stuff popping up about this. I mean, last week there was Brianna Wu was chased out of her house after death threats and whatnot. And the only things the media are actually reporting on are the very, very extremes on both sides, and it's like it's all continually being pitched mostly by the extremists on both sides as you're either with us or you're against us. And there's a lot of people who are, not. It's like, I don't particularly agree with Anita Sarkeesian's work. I don't wish her dead. I don't wish her career ruined. I don't necessarily agree with the content of the videos she makes, but whatever. I also don't think that the state of games journalism is in a particularly great place. I think it could be a lot better done. But at the same time, I also don't necessarily think that just straight up closing down all of those outlets is necessarily the right route to go down either. There's a lot of grey to this area, and a lot of people are sat in the middle and looking at us and going, what in the name of Christ is going on here? It's just painting as black and white is wrong, and that the media, the mainstream media, in fact, has picked up on it in the last week. So the gaming media and the mainstream media are still painting this as just a two-side issue of extremists going at each other, and that's not the case. It's inaccurate, and quite frankly, as journalists, they have a duty to do better. That's their job. I mean, there was a in regard to this specific specific story, the bombing threats. There's Anita Sarkeesian was on, I forget which one. She was on some major American news channel for an interview, and basically the Americans, they were talking about, you know, mainstream national news going out here. They didn't know the intricacies of Gamergate. They'd been handed a page full of notes, and this is the first time they'd heard anything about it. So they were basically reading off a sheet, and basically the gist of the story that they'd got was that mostly Gamergate was men who really hate women in gaming, really don't want any women to work in gaming anywhere, and would rather they all die, was basically the kind of the gist of it. Anita Sarkeesian, who is, you know, a fairly prominent figure in this, didn't step up at any point and say, actually, no, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. She was like, no, that's exactly what's going down. It's like, you are very much painting a false picture of the situation. You're very heavily embroiled. You're just making matters worse, quite frankly. There are some people who no doubt believe that's the case, but most of the Gamergate crowd probably don't feel that. And of course, there's people saying that Gamergate should be trying to distance themselves from the extremists or form a new movement that doesn't agree with them. And it's like, I don't know what the right solution is, but I think every movement has extremists. And if one said that all feminists are, you know, epitomized by the most extreme members of the group, the people who genuinely believe that all men need to die, it's like, well, maybe feminists need to distance themselves from the extremists because the extremists are painting them in a bad light. It doesn't really work like that. It's the majority just tends to sit back, and they might support the cause, but they're not going to be very much outspoken about it, and they just kind of get tarred with the same brush as the extremists, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Ditto. I think you summed that up very, very, very well. So I don't think we have any. Yeah, but when the rants make well arguments, then yeah.
I just think absolutely all media sources really need to be looking into the story a lot more, because honestly, the opinions that really get seen the most are not the majority opinions. They're just the nuts that claim to have pipe bombs. Those are the ones that are getting the attention. Honestly, if you ignored the ones that, everybody sort of ignored those guys and said, look, we're going to focus on trying to get better standards in gaming journalism, I don't know. But at the same time, the opposing side is also focusing on the extremists and going, oh, look, everybody on your side is threatening to pipe bomb auditoriums full of people. And it's like, well, no, they're not. One person did. He doesn't represent us. He claims to be with us, unfortunately, but what can you do about him? We really don't have any control over him. We can't, arrest him or anything. We've told him to stop. He probably has been told to stop by some people, I'm quite sure. And it's done nothing. There are people within the Gamergate movement who are saying, look, no, don't do harassment. Harassment, bad. Plenty of people. I mean, I'm saying, look, I agree we need better standards in gaming journalism. I don't think that going around harassing people is the right answer. I will absolutely condemn that. Don't do it. It's bad, folks. But at the same time, if I were to step up at any point and say, look, I support the Gamergate movement, suddenly, guess what? I'm targeted as being one of the extremists because I apparently support the guy with the pipe bombs. I'm apparently on the same side as him. It's not black and white, and you can't treat it as such. But that's that. Should we want something a little bit cheerier? Or at least less death-threaty? We've got... World of Warcraft subscription numbers are a thing that's up. For some reason we seem to keep talking about this one. It's... I don't know. Is World of Warcraft a thing that's of compelling interest to everyone?
Not in the least.
Why do we keep talking about it then? God damn it.
Because it's relevant in this case because they're probably getting the customers back by offering free horses.
Oh, for God's sake, the horse!
And if you would have bought that horse and given him a home, you would be a better person.
No horses, no horses ever. I'm not going back. I'm playing WildStar these days. They have hoverboards.
A horse can ride a hoverboard.
No, it can't. It doesn't have the dexterity or balance.
I'm now going to contact a scientist. And you will see.
Okay then, you do that. World of Warcraft subscription numbers are on the up. World of Warcraft is experiencing a rise in subscribers, climbing to 7.4 million at the end of September compared to 6.8 at the end of June. So they have reclaimed 600,000 souls, which will presumably go into their Dark Soul Forge to power some unspeakable engine of doom. So I'm pretty sure that's what Blizzard are working on these days.
Not that you're making any judgments against World of Warcraft there.
I've been in the machine. I've seen the Soul Forge. I've been in the Soul Forge. It's not fun. Well, I don't know. Raiding was pretty fun. Which is why I want to go into the WildStar engine. There's looks... It's like sci-fi fun instead of fantasy fun. And there are more souls in there. Well, World of Warcraft still has the most souls of any MMO, but... And I guess they're regaining them, so there you go. This obviously presumably comes in with... obviously got the new expansion is out in less than a month at this point. And if you pre-order it, they're giving you a free level 90 character, which is presumably the big selling point for a lot of people.
And a horse.
I don't know about that one. I mean, I guess technically speaking, yes, insofar as if they give you the level 90 character and you play Hearthstone, which is a free-to-play game, you can get the free horse out of the free game and play it in the game that you've just got your level 90 character in, so technically true, I guess. Which is the best kind of true.
Technically true is essentially you're correct.
You're correct, but I don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's the boosted level 90, and I have seen in the last week they've done a big sale where you can buy World of Warcraft and all of the expansions to date for £10, $10, 10 something currencies. And the discussion thread on that on Reddit was just like, oh no, don't do this. I don't want to get back into this. All the freed souls were like dreading it. No, I'm not getting back into that. But yes, the level cap will be 100 in short order within a month, which is a ridiculous number of levels. When the game started, it was 60. It's like, I can't envision playing through that many extra levels afterwards. It just seems ridiculous at that point, which I suppose is why they're boosting people to 90. It's at this point they realise people are like, I don't want to have to grind through 90% of garbage just to get to the actual content, just because they've added so much stuff before you even get to the bit that everybody else is playing.
It's still not as many levels as Dark Souls 2.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll grant you, but I suspect you can get through them a little bit faster in Dark Souls 2 than you do in World of Warcraft.
I wouldn't be sure about that.
I don't know.
Like in 60 hours, I managed to get to level 200 odd.
Well, there you go then. I'm pretty sure it'd take a lot more than 60 hours just to get to level... I must have played a lot more than that, getting to level 70, 80.
Well, John, there's only one way to find out, and that's getting back in that machine.
No. I'm not going to do that. You can feel free to do that, though, because it's only £10, and then you can get the expansion for a boost to level 90.
I think I'd break the machine.
So if you're a desperate soul who wants to get back into that, now is a good time to get back into that. That's news. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about a game that none of us play, but watch with a morbid fascination in the future as well. Is that what World of Warcraft is? I think it's just morbid fascination with it. It's like,
well, it's a cultural thing, isn't it? It's like it's a huge part of people's gaming life and society. It's just from time to time we're curious. Oh, is that still a thing?
It is the biggest and still probably isn't the longest running. It's definitely by a long margin the biggest MMO. So yeah, it's just an interesting one to watch and see the route it takes, I suppose, because they do set the trends for everyone else as well. I mean, they have shaped the course of MMOs for years beyond them. But
I think it's just looking back and going, yeah, I used to do that.
There's an element of that as well for me as well. Yeah. It's like, how has it changed? And most people who used to play it and don't play it anymore look at it and go, it's like, that's changed beyond recognition, and I don't even particularly want to play it anymore because it has changed so much, and I liked it when it was the old ways. Get off my lawn and everything.
Back when a Mars bar cost 20p.
Back in my day, we needed 40 people to do Molten Core, and we hated it.
Back when I was playing Quake.
I think Quake predates it a little bit, but yes. We also got, in the news, something more about Pokken Tournament, because we talked about this a little while back. It's kind of an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I remember discussing this.
The Pokemon fighting game, yeah. Is going to debut in Japanese arcades.
Ooh.
Which is, basically apparently it's to gauge the reaction, because obviously the fighting game market, I suppose, is fairly harsh, and if
it's oversaturated, I think is the word term.
Maybe, I don't know. Certainly, they basically, if it can go into arcades where people have to pay for each round and still actually produce a game that's actually successful and people are interested and keen to play, then they'll know that they've definitely got something that's bigger and worth going on with. So, I don't know, the fact that they're putting it in arcades is still baffling to me. It's like, arcades? What are those?
Yeah, we don't have those anymore. I'm sure it's still a big thing in Japan, but
I believe it is
not so
still
much.
A massive. I think it's still a massive thing in Japan. I seem to recall.
Is it massive?
I think it is. Yeah.
All right.
There was a whole documentary about it, wasn't there? Not too long ago. Filmed.
I don't know. I didn't catch it. If there was. Go on.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. It was just a filmmaker going around Japanese arcades talking to lifelong gamers playing games, and I think he spoke to some original game developers.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds fairly interesting. To be fair, I don't know where I was going with that now. I had a thing I was going to say, and then when I let you talk, I forgot what I was going to say.
The Duralin Man strikes again.
Yes. I think surely it's going to be successful just by virtue of the fact it's Pokemon. How can it not be? Why do they need to test it?
It sounds
but it is
like
Pokemon that can physically punch each other.
Yeah.
You're having a tournament with Pokemon. How can that go wrong?
That's like my 7-year-old wet dream.
I would have loved that game.
It's printing money, for God's sake. Yeah.
I can guarantee you it's going to come to a button mash near you. The moment it's out.
Probably.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, it seems like an odd choice. I mean, if they were experimenting with something new and untested before, a completely new IP or something, it's like, yes, we've never done this franchise before. We've come up with a new thing. Shigeru Miyamoto's come up with a completely new concept, and we'd like him to fight. He didn't do Pokemon, did he? But whatever.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is why they might be doing this is because we did mention how many Pokemon were going to be physically able to be in it. So maybe it's just a thing to see if a stripped back version of the game works.
I suppose that's potentially a thing. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a game design choice. I mean, it's more is there a market for it? Seems more kind of thing. I mean, if you wanted to, the way you're describing it sounds more like beta testing. It's like what mechanics and what choices and what decisions can we make that work within this game, or not even beta testing before that, alpha, pre-alpha kind of content to actually find out what mechanics work best in the game. By the time you're actually putting it in a place where people can publicly pay to play it, you would hopefully have something you were fairly well sold on something, you decided, yep, this is what we're going to do.
Look, I'm trying to suggest ideas for an inexplicable decision. Leave me alone.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know, it's yeah, like I say, if it were a completely brand new, untested IP, if some Japanese game designer was like, look, we've got this fighting game and we've got no idea how well it's going to do, we think we've got something great here, but let's test it out, let's see if there's a market for it, and let's put it in arcades first, that would probably be interesting, although probably it'd be interesting to see whether any news outlets even picked up on it. But yeah, the fact that it's Pokemon, it's like, look, people are going to lap this up, it's the same market as anything like Smash Brothers. People are going to be like, oh my god, Pokemon! I know Pokemon! I want to play Pokemon! Pokemon! And people will play it. That's how it works.
Absolutely.
I'm doing Pokemon for the theme tune next week, aren't I?
You can do if you want. Which one?
Ooh,
Oh, first one, obviously.
Do you want me to try the poker rap?
I was thinking the Poker app.
It'll be wrong, but I'll try it.
Amazing. Well, there's some mild spoilers for next week.
Spoiler alert.
That's kind of most of the news we had. Shall we move on to some new releases for the week?
Yep.
We're going to jingle for that.
And now, Butter Mash Games new releases.
Excellent.
Thank you.
This is where I need to find the date. What date are we on? October 19th, yes?
It's the 19th today, yes.
We have available on PC, Mac, and Linux tomorrow is Door Kickers, which I feel like is already out, is it not? I've heard about this before. No, maybe not. I feel like this has been talked about and reviewed and stuff in the past, but I guess it's not. Oh, it was early access in early September, that's the thing. So this is a top-down tactical SWAT trooper thingy. I don't know, I'm getting less stylized, but sort of Monaco kind of vibe out of it, I guess.
So it's just SWAT team strategy kind of thing, I guess.
Move through sort of building complexes and reach objectives and do stuff. Kick down doors, I presume. I imagine there's an element of that.
Otherwise, it's just a very ironically named game.
We call it Door Kickers, but all the doors are already open. We also have Disney Fantasia Music Evolved.
Ooh.
Which is, I'm not rightly sure. It's a music game that involves Disney at some stage. I'm not quite sure what the actual type of gameplay is.
In Fantasia, doesn't Mickey do a bit of conducting? So maybe it's a conducting game?
My grandma used to own Fantasia on VHS, and as a child I've ended up seeing that far too many bloody times. That's just like one tiny segment of a really, really huge thing. There's actually quite a lot to Fantasia.
Maybe so that's the bit people remember.
Yeah, it is the bit that people remember, absolutely. The Mickey Mouse, the Sorcerer's Apprentice is the one you're thinking of. And I would very much expect that's probably in the game somewhere. I'd be very surprised if that wasn't, given that obviously that is by far the most iconic part of it. But actually, I'm looking at the screenshots. I'm wondering if they've just tried to incorporate as much Disney stuff as entirely possible. It could be a thing. Still can't entirely make out what the heck the gameplay mechanics actually are, to be honest. But it's a music game, and if people like music and they like Disney, they're probably going to check this out, I'd imagine.
You might like it.
Although, at the same time, actually, what the hell? I'm checking out on the page that I've got here. We've got the track listings on it. It's got track number 1, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Okay, that's a spanner in the works.
I don't remember that one being a Disney song.
I remember it in Wayne's World. I don't remember it in a Disney film.
Track number 4, Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz.
Yeah, I don't remember Gorillaz being in any Disney films.
Track number 5, Forget You by CeeLo Green.
No, that's not.
Track number, 11, Message in a Bottle by The Police.
Maybe.
15, Rocket Man by Elton John.
Why is that not the Shatner version?
I know, right?
That's a failure on every level.
Track 16, Royals by Lord.
Nope.
Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie. No, this is not quite the Disney I had expected. I was sort of expecting, the
I want to be like
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I want to be like you. Everyone wants to be a cat, that kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah. I was just genuinely expecting
The music of Fantasia.
Yeah. Well, that's a strange one. That's a very strange one.
Which we may have to buy or play at some point now, because I'm just fascinated.
We need to investigate, yes. And hopefully there will be DLC to get the William Shatner version of Rocket Man in. We can only hope.
Yeah, otherwise there's no point.
Yeah, absolutely. October 23rd. When I click on the page, it says March 20th, so re-release, I guess, or port. PlayStation 3, 4, and Vita, Samurai Warriors 4. The fourth main entry in the Samurai Warriors series, surprisingly enough.
I thought it was the third. I'm so confused.
I've gained not a whole lot of information on it, so I'm not rightly sure what it is. It features over 50 playable characters with a character switching mechanic. Thrilling stuff.
Well, I'm guessing it's just samurais.
Yeah.
Might be a fighting game, I suspect.
I mean, the name Samurai Warriors immediately just makes me think Dynasty Warriors. It's probably not, but it's the first mental connection that I make. There's not a whole heck of a lot of information on the page, and no screenshots, so I really can't tell you a lot about it, to be honest.
I think it's a sensible guess.
We have The Legend of Korra on October 21st, which is for PS3, PS4, PC, Xbone, and Xbox.
Wasn't that coming out last week? Shoal mentioned this last week.
Did we? Maybe
so, yeah.
maybe it's been pushed back a little then. That's Avatar kind of game. If you're into Avatar, there is a game about Avatar. Play it.
Yay.
Enthused! So enthused.
Yeah, you sounded it.
Shadow Warrior for PS4. That's a game that's already been out for a while. It came out on PC like last year. I've heard pretty good things about. First-person shooter by Flying Wild Hog and Devolver Digital, a reimagining of the old one. There's one from 1997. They sort of did it up and remastered it, and it seemed to recall it getting pretty good reviews at the time, so that's out on PS4 if you're interested.
They made it pretty.
They made it pretty indeed. I have, this one looks thrilling, The Voice, I Want You. For the Wii,
Okay, I think I can make a
PS3.
guess about this. What this might be.
It's, go on, what's your guess?
Well, there's a popular television show.
Is there? Okay.
Well, it might not be popular, but there's a television show.
I think it is. If they made a game about it, I think it is.
No, it's that thing that Tom Jones does where you spin on the chairs, and I guess you have to coach people how to be singers.
It's karaoke is what it is.
Yeah.
We have one called Flustercluck.
Great name.
Yeah, I'll give it that. A dual stick shooter for PlayStation 4, which gives you ingredients to chickenize cows and camels and zombies and co-workers.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I don't really know myself. I guess you play as a chicken who wants to convert other things to chickendom. I don't know. It's a bit strange.
What would that achieve?
It would improve the chicken master race. I don't know.
Oh, okay, another game that I might have to buy out of morbid curiosity.
Walking Dead Season 2 is out on October 21st, which also was originally out last year, but there you go. So this one is out on PlayStation 3, 4, and Vita. If you've been holding out on that for a PlayStation platform, that's out now. That is obviously your Telltale's new form of point-and-click adventures, where they do it more interestingly than the old form.
Which is good.
Yep. Just Dance 2015. Can you tell what that one is?
I think it's a singing game.
Yep, probably. We have Dreamfall Chapters, which is a sequel to, I believe, The Longest Journey and then Dreamfall The Longest Journey, and I've got Dreamfall chapters. I do own The Longest Journey. I've never even bothered installing it. It's something I picked up God only knows when. And then I've looked at the images for this, and it's like, actually, this looks kind of cool. I don't rightly know entirely what to expect from it, but it's kind of got this cool, fairly cyberpunky kind of thing, I think, going on, which looked kind of interesting. And so, yeah, I might go back and install the first one and play that now, because I'm kind of intrigued by it.
You've got too many games to play at the moment.
I do, actually. And I have, in fact, because it's on sale, I have finally bought Hatterful Boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yay!
They've got a Devolver sale going on the Humble store at the minute, so there's loads of stuff that's really cheap, and Hatterful Boyfriend was half price, so it's like, you know what, at £7, I was kind of umming and ahhing, £3.50, go on, I'll have it. So, there's that. We have Scapegoat 2 for the PS4.
Sorry, did you say Escapegoat?
Scapegoat, yes.
Okay.
Escape, not scape.
Right.
It's a goat. It's a puzzle game about a goat that escapes things.
Alright, okay.
Mostly
I wanted
dungeons.
to make sure I wasn't mishearing that.
Yeah, I played the original. It was kind of alright. It was nothing. It did. I seem to recall it getting some fairly high acclaim. At the same time, I played it, it was just like, this is just a fairly average puzzle game, much the same as many other puzzle games that have gone before it. I'm not really seeing what makes it stand out, but it's fairly solid in its own right.
I don't know. I had it and I dropped it very quickly because I got so bored.
I played the second one. Oh, I remember what it was. When Candy Crush, or King that make Candy Crush, were going around suing everyone over the name Candy. They did the Candy Jam, which was a game jam about making games with candy in the name just to piss off King.
Yeah.
And Scapegoat, a little bit of a cop-out, to be honest. Normally with a game jam, you make something from scratch. All they did was that they reskinned Scapegoat 2, or at least the demo they had for Scapegoat 2 at the time, so that all the objects you interacted with were in fact candy.
Yeah.
And then put an advert for to pre-order Scapegoat 2 into it. And it's like, that one's a little bit of a cop-out. But, yeah, again, reasonably solid puzzle game, but honestly, puzzle games are really not all that much my thing most of the time. So it might appeal to someone who enjoys puzzling a little bit more. We have Race the Sun out on PlayStation 3, 4, and Vita, which I've got on my Steam wishlist. I don't know why I've never bought it. I played it back when it was originally a Flash game. I will say that much, or possibly Unity. It had some web player based thing. It was very good, actually. It's about racing straight forward, weaving in between obstacles, basically racing the sun. The faster you go, you're trying to get as far as you can before the sun sets, and you're racing towards the sun, trying to outrun the sunset, basically. And it does generate a really good feeling of speed as it goes along, and you're trying just not to plough straight into a wall as you go.
That sounds fun.
It is quite fun, actually. It's pretty good. Yeah, I quite like that one. And as I say, I've never actually bought the bloody thing, and I really should. And it's also procedurally generated as well, and they've got like a... they change it every 24 hours, so it's like everybody gets the same level every day, but when you come back the next day, there's a new entire level format for everybody to play, which is kind of an interesting take on the procedurally generated formula.
Yeah, that sounds quite cool.
So yeah, everybody can work on the same thing, everybody can try and get a best score and compete with each other for the same best score on the same day, and then when you come back tomorrow, it'll all be gone, and you can try again at something new. So that's cool.
It's cool. Like
It's cool
Elvis.
indeed. We have PS3 and PlayStation Network, which is still PS3, on October 21st, F1 2014, which is kind of odd since we announced 2015 last week.
Yeah, it seems like they're a bit behind.
A little bit behind on that one, wasn't it? Oh, hang on, no, did we announce... Actually, what did we announce last week?
Yeah.
Did we announce 2015? No, I said no, I think that was one I was complaining about because it wasn't 2015. I was complaining because they were late on doing the 2014.
Yes, so...
Yeah, normally 2014 would come out in 2013, and 2015 would be in 14, and so on. In this case, they've kind of left it till the end of the year to even release the 2014 version, which is kind of a little bit odd, but whatever.
So I
Their choice.
suspect.
Mm-hmm. On Wii U, we have Pia Solar and the Great Architects, which I feel like we've already talked about at some stage. I guess it was out on PC a couple of weeks back, so we kind of already did that one. We have, on 3DS, we have Korg DSN 12.
Okay.
Which is not really a game, to be honest. I think it's more sort of an app. Not that I was aware the 3DS was becoming much of an app store, but I guess in this case it kind of is.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that on the 3DS.
It is a music synthesizer application featuring an oscilloscope in stereoscopic 3D.
In stereoscopic 3D?
Yeah, I know. How does that even work? We're talking about an oscilloscope, which is normally just a green line on a screen anyway. How do you display a green line on a screen in stereoscopic 3D?
3DS found a way, baby. 3DS found a way.
Mind blown. I know, right?
I'm gonna have to take a lie down, excuse me.
We have Shantae and the Pirate's Curse on 3DS. Have we talked about this one recently? I feel like I've seen this one around at some stage.
We discussed the pirate game. I can't remember if this is the one.
I guess it's... I don't know, it's the third entry in the Shantae series and the first to see a release on home consoles, it claims. So, no, I guess it's something new. It is something for the Wii U, so I guess that's why probably people haven't terribly heard of it. It's about a female genie who goes and does some stuff that I'm not really familiar with because I haven't followed Nintendo in years.
So hang on, is that the actual blurb that they've given?
No.
A female genie who does some stuff.
That's the thing, I'm familiar with the character, I've seen some stuff about the character recently, so I was like, oh yeah, I recognise that character is where I'm coming from, but I really don't know much about the game. I think it's just 2D platforming stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of got a cool pixel art kind of artwork style going on, which is fairly pleasant, but I have no idea. I guess if they made 3 games, it must be doing pretty well. But again, Nintendo, I don't follow it that much.
Moving on,
Castlevania. This is another friggin' re-release, isn't it?
we've discussed Castlevania, I think, at least twice, man.
Released May 6, 2003. Another Castlevania re-release, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow for the Wii U. If you want to go back and play old Castlevania games from the GBA, that's there, you can do that. Bayonetta 2 is out this week. Really? I thought that was already out at this point. I'm seeing enough reviews of it, I figured it was already out. But yes. The game in which the magical woman with guns and whose clothes fall off when she fights things makes a return for her clothes to fall off when she fights things again.
Good old misogynistic gaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because some people are like, oh no, it's just the style, man, that's just what they're going for, it's just kind of their thing, it's not misogyny, it's just an artistic choice. And some people have gone, no, it's great, it's 10 out of 10, it's perfect, it's the best game ever. And then it was Polygon, I think, were like, oh yeah, it's a really great game, it's really fantastic, it's a shame about the misogyny, misogyny's terrible, this is really awful, you don't need to make a game about naked women, it was really be a perfectly great game even if they didn't have the naked women in it. Why does it need naked women? 7.5 out of 10. Yeah. It's like, it's like, for God's sake, guys. Oh dear. So yes, Bayonetta, love it or hate it, it's there on the Wii U, out this week. Pokemon Art Academy for the 3DS.
Wait, what?
Learn to draw Pokemon with this installment of Nintendo's artistic educational series on the 3DS.
I'd rather have them punch each other in the face.
I'm sorry, from the way you made it sound at first, I thought it was just like Pokemon drawing each other, or they were actually in some kind of like art academy.
Well, that would be an interesting concept in and of its own right.
I could just imagine Pikachu like chiseling a stone statue.
But to go to the point that Will obviously raised, again, this kind of illustrates the point that you can just slap Pikachu on anything and it will sell. The Pokemon thing really makes no sense, because I'm quite sure Pokemon Art Academy will sell like hotcakes because it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
I want to
draw. People like to draw Pokemon. I know. I drew a lot of Pokemon when I was watching it on TV as a kid.
Fair enough. I didn't, but I have the artistic talent of a rock, so.
I could draw a coffin.
Right. Okay. I can draw a Voltorb.
Electrode's easier. He doesn't have overly complicated eyes.
Does he not? Okay, I'm not overly familiar with the difference between the eyes in them. I don't remember quite how the eyes differentiate, but whatever. We have Fantasy Life, which is apparently an expanded version of Brownie Brown and Level 5's Life Sim Action RPG hybrid.
Ooh.
Is this... I feel like I think this is one the Oxcast has been playing lately, actually, because this kind of rings a bell. It kind of seems like it's kind of like Legend of Zelda meets like Harvest Moon or Animal Crossing, maybe, or something. I'm not really sure. A very bizarre hybrid of genres and things. I don't really know. There's probably a market
I've got
for that
nothing
kind of
for
thing.
that.
No, I don't really know. It seems like something I probably wouldn't mind playing, actually. I could probably get into that. So yes, you design a character, pick a class, and you go out and you go live your life, but your life is one as an adventurer rather than just mayor of the town telling people how to build houses and things.
You build your house.
I'm not all that familiar with exactly what the mayor does in the latest Animal Crossing. I'm more familiar with the old Animal Crossing where you just live. That was all you did. It's like, here's your house. Go fishing if you want. You don't have to.
You weren't forced into slavery by the mayor.
Well, you were more forced into servitude by the shop owner, Tom Nook, but, you know, he held you ransom for a lot of money. He was like, here you go, have a house, you have no choice in this matter. You owe me money for the house, thanks. Oh, you paid off. Would you like a bigger house? I'm going to build you a bigger house. Would you like to pay me back for the bigger house? Now I was like, I didn't ask for this.
Oh dear.
Oh, you paid off your latest debt. Let me give you a bigger house. I will give you a bigger house. You'll pay me for the bigger house.
It's like the opposite of Monopoly.
Yeah, quite. I have Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth out on PC, Mac, and Linux. That one is they've been pre-selling that one for some time now, and it's been pre-selling quite well for some time now. That one's been selling like hotcakes. So I imagine if you're into Civ, or I believe Alpha Centauri is what it's supposed to be, kind of more the spiritual successor to, you'll be jumping on board with that. This has been held up a lot as the poster child of, for the love of God, don't pre-order titles when it's a digital download and you gain nothing by doing so. Because they've been selling ridiculous amounts of it and it's not even out until this week. And yeah, people are just like, I don't care if it's any good, I liked Alpha Centauri, I like Civilization, give me the next game. It's like, you've not even played it, there's no reviews, for God's sake, just hold on for a week, or a month, or however long. But yeah, that's going to sell, and there's no force on this planet that will stop that one selling at this point. I presume most people will already know whether they're going to buy it or not.
You'd hope so.
So there we go, that's the cross-platform release list. We have
Let's
some
do-
Steam releases.
And now, the Steam releases.
Okay, I didn't realise we had a jingle such as it was for that yet, but okay.
Okay, I'm introducing one. I'm trying it out for the week.
Okay then, fair enough.
It might
so
not
yeah.
return.
Again, we've got a little bit of crossover here. We've got Legend of Korra is out on Steam. We have Screen Cheat, which we did show at Button Mash 9 yesterday, in fact. Which, I was busy setting up Jenga at the time, so I have no idea how well it was received.
I think there was a fair few people playing it.
Well, it was part of the tournament, so we kind of forced people to play it. They had no option in the matter.
Yep. Good old democracy.
Someone has a dog. Which one of you has a dog?
It's
It
not me.
might be me.
Okay.
By process of elimination.
So Screen Cheat is the first-person shooter in which all players are invisible and you must figure out where your opponents are by looking at their screen. So, you know when you berated your friends for looking at your screen when you were playing GoldenEye together? That's what you gotta do in this game, so that's Screen Cheat for you. I have had a copy of this for months. The fact is there's no comfortable way I can properly play and review it without getting 4 people together, so could some of you guys please do something with me with that one, because I can't review it on my own.
I think that'd be cool. I'd like to do that.
Well, if I
Alright,
can keep
excellent.
the dog quiet for 5 minutes, yeah, sure. Why not?
Awesome. So yeah, I've had this for months. I haven't been able to play. I mean, I guess I could have gone online, but I'd like to get a group of 4 together, people that I know that I can actually do something with. I've given a copy to Sunil, so we can get him on it. So yeah, let's get a 4 going on.
Cool. Let's do it.
We have, what else do we have? We have Dreamfall chapters, we already mentioned briefly. Time Rifters is one of the ones I've got and I'm meaning to play and review at some point this week, but haven't had a chance to fire up yet. That's a single player co-op kind of thing in the same kind of vein as Super Time Force, but it's a first person shooter. So that's kind of, you go out, you go shoot a bunch of enemies, and ultimately there are too many enemies for you, and you're probably going to get yourself killed. So then you go back in time and you send a second version of yourself out, and you play alongside the first version of yourself and shoot all the things and try and do better. And ultimately you get 4 copies of yourself working together to try and beat the level.
Oh, the paradox.
Yeah, basically. I mean, as I say, it's Super Time Force. It's not necessarily an original formula. I don't think I've seen it done in a first-person shooter context specifically, so that could certainly be interesting. Super Time Force definitely did it. I didn't actually play that one, but I've seen plenty of gameplay of it. Team Indie, which I did play and review in recent history, that one used a very, very similar kind of mechanic as well. It was a little bit more complex than simply just playing alongside yourself, to be honest, but the core mechanic was the same kind of thing. So it seems to be the in thing at the minute, playing with yourself, not like that.
Yeah, what?
We've got Devil's Dare is out on the 21st. This one is, again, the in thing at the minute. It's a parody of everything from the 90s. It's a pixelized, pixel art style side-scrolling brawler, which apparently parodies stuff from big badass monsters and superheroes and things from 90s games and TV and whatnot. Looking at the screenshots and stuff, all I can think is it looks so brown. When you complain about things like Call of Duty looking brown, my god, this game is monochrome. It doesn't necessarily look bad, but I really think it could probably look better if it had a bit of colour in it. Just all the environments are just in a grey to brown colour palette. The only bits of colour are like the red numbers for the health bar and stuff. There's a little bit of dull drab green in places, but that's not terribly interesting either.
Green. It's a vibrant colour.
I don't know, it sounds like it could be an interesting concept, and like I say, the art style, if it weren't so drab, it looked quite nice, but there's just the grey is so dreary, it really is. I don't know why they've gone with that. We have Profur23. I think I'm pronouncing that correct? I don't know how you pronounce that. That's a really weird one. It's a really short, fast-paced, real-time strategy kind of thing. Apparently the entire game is about 15 minutes long. And it looks like, I can't think of any specific examples at the minute. There's a sort of a very simple formula of RTS which involves just sort of generating resources and moving them around, sort of a web of nodes and things. It looks like it's that kind of thing. Euphoria is one that springs to mind, actually. I kind of feel like it could be that kind of thing, except it's kind of done on a style that looks like old-fashioned anatomical drawings on a sheet of parchment is kind of the style they've got going on. It's like growing bits of the human body, and there's diagrams around the page, and you move them around and attack things that way. I don't know, again, like I said, apparently it's like 15 minutes long, but it's, again, there's also an element of procedural generation, I guess, so that you get a different playthrough each time. Weird looking thing. I'm not quite sure it would appeal to me, to be honest. I'm not that strategic.
Oh dear.
We have Death Trap Tower Defense with action RPG elements. So that sounds like we're talking about Orcs Must Die or Dungeon Defenders. It looks very much like either or of them. It's got more visually in common with Orcs Must Die, I suppose, but they're probably going for a little bit more of a realistic style than either of them. We've got a very nicer graphic. The other two, those two were very stylized. This has kind of got the a very modern game kind of look going on. Just judging by the screenshots, at any rate. But at the same time, tower defense. Are we tired of this yet? Please, can we be tired of this?
Okay.
I'm tired of it.
It never ends.
They never stop coming, but that is the
The
point of tower defense.
never-ending tower defense.
We have the Shopkeeper, which is a point-and-click adventure. Not a whole lot more to say to it, because it's a point-and-click adventure. It's got a...
well explained.
I don't know, so, I mean, what else is there to? They've not gone down the Telltale route of adding interesting gameplay mechanics. It's old school point and click. Walk around a room, find objects, rub them on other objects, and see if they do anything. And they describe it as set in a space between the Twilight Zone, classic LucasArts adventures, and the Antiques Roadshow.
Okay,
So
that's a lot of crossovers.
Yeah, especially Antiques Roadshow, really. It sounds like they're going for a slightly surrealist kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
A bit bizarre. They've got this hand-drawn style, which is not unpleasant to look at. But it's just point and click. If you like point and click, maybe. If not, hey, no. I've actually got that one right. That one just says it says release date October, but it pops up in amongst all the other releases for this week. So I feel like that might be this week, but there's no actual date on it.
Well, October, it's close enough.
True. By the end of this week, there won't be a whole lot of October left, so odds are in our favour.
Yeah, we're in the back end of October, so I think we'll be all right.
Fair enough. I have Squishy, the suicidal pig.
Great name, by the way.
Which is... I mean, the game concept is... It sounds like it's a pixel art style side-scrolling platformer, but apparently the object is... Well, your pig is suicidal. I think the object is to kill yourself, whereas normally, try to stay alive. I think in this instance, the object is to try and actually murder yourself in some way or other.
Chewy stuff.
Yeah, it's still got this very bright, Nintendo vibe, like your Mario Brothers or whatever. It's all colourful and pixel art style. It looks like something that Nintendo would have produced in the early 90s or whatever, but at the same time, yeah, the suicidal pig, wait, what? At the same time, also looking at gameplay, it feels like, if the pig was genuinely suicidal, there's a million and one ways it could have died, and it doesn't seem to be making all that much effort.
Yeah, it sounds a bit bland.
The spikes and lava and the characters just not jumping in it was like, look, if you're suicidal, there's lava right there, pig. Go for it.
He's not trying hard enough.
We demand bacon.
Bacon.
Bacon indeed. Sign Motion. We have Sign Motion, which is on the 24th of October, which is another side-scrolling platformer thing, maybe. Hard to tell entirely what it is. I think a puzzle platformer kind of thing, perhaps. Based around the boy off the school crossing sign escaped from the school crossing sign, and now you have to go through this 2D world of signposts and interact with things on the signposts by the looks of things, and climb around various obstacles, and I do get a bit of a Limbo vibe from it, not the dark and creepy and eerie, but just sort of gameplay-wise, the 2D running around, jumping from thing to thing, it kind of feels Limbo-ish to me, I think. I don't know. I think the art style and the interesting sort of, that's kind of mostly what it's got going on for it, more than anything else. The fact that it's all signposts, and you can go across the street signs and the road signs and whatnot, and yeah. I think that's their main selling point. We've got Enforcer Police Crime Action, which just sounds like they just mashed together as many exciting sounding words as they possibly could.
Yeah, sounds like an 80s film
Enforcer
title.
Police Crime Action. Yeah, it's a police simulator.
Oh, really? I would never have guessed.
It looks exactly like every other simulator game you've ever seen, which basically means they didn't put all that much budget into actually making graphics, so it looks really low fidelity compared to any decent modern title. What the gameplay is like, I couldn't possibly tell you. It sounds more interesting than a farming simulator, I'll give it that. But
so it's a step up.
Possibly not a lot much more. Only insofar as people might occasionally try to shoot at you, which the cows don't often do. So yeah. Obviously Sid Meier's Civ, Beyond Earth is out. Actually, they've got fairly reasonable early access or early pre-order discount on that. To be fair, that might be why people are jumping at it. I suppose it's 25% of launch. That would explain a lot, I guess.
It helps.
Sproggywood is actually out this week. I didn't realize this was out this week. I have not played this, but I've been watching. There's a guy I have done some stuff with in the past on YouTube. He's been covering this on his channel, so I've been watching that. It is a turn-based square grid roguelite kind of thing. Honestly, looking at it, not massively dissimilar to Crypt of the Necrodancer, but the way I play it, I barred where you can just stop and think about things. So it seems like something I probably would actually quite enjoy playing, because you can just I like that way. I like being able to do that, stop and just go, okay, let me consider my moves. Let me look and see how things are working and figure out what the best way to deal with this is. There's probably more items and intricacies than Crypt of the Necrodancer, to be honest. It's got a very cute art style going. It's quite adorable, but yeah, that's kind of cool.
Well, you buy games for their adorableness, I guess.
Yes, I want adorable monsters trying to eat my adorable face. That is what I want in life.
Well, if you've been killed by something more prettier than you, I think you can tolerate it.
You don't mind dying if the thing that killed you is pretty.
I was probably offending it by being here.
So that's all the noteworthy Steam releases for the week. So we're probably drawing to a close here.
Right, so.
Shall we walk people out and go through all our shameless plugs?
Yes, why not? I break the tradition.
Should we have a jingle, the shameless plug section?
I
don't know.
Don't steal my job.
I don't know, I was just throwing that out there. I don't know.
Shameless plug section. Yeah.
You basically just did the same thing I did. I thought you'd come up with something original, but you did not.
I added a yeah at the end. What more do you want?
You basically made it sound like my jingle for Spiral Knights News when I do Spiral Spiel on a Wednesday. I always put yeah on the end to make it sound cool as well. So you're still stealing my thing.
How about this? Shameless plug section. Fuck yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that. Why not? Sure.
Team American it up.
Do you want to give us some shameless plugs then?
Yeah, would negate the jingle if I didn't. If you want more information about what Button Mash is doing, if you go to check us out on Facebook, which the link is
facebook.com/buttonmash,
or you can follow us on Twitter at
twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
We have a presence on Steam, which is
bit.ly/BM Steam, I think.
And you can it's close enough.
It'll be right. We'll link it below. Check it out in the description.
And if you want to see John play some video games during the week, you can go check him out on YouTube at
youtube.com/buttonmashempire.
And by the sounds of it, maybe he'll have some guests at some point.
Yes, potentially, yeah. We should get some screen sheet on the go, definitely.
Oh dear.
Be good. Could possibly go wrong.
I missed anything,
For me personally, you can, if you want to go support me making videos and my income, you can go to patreon.com/buttonmash.
Yeah, that too.
Not that these guys care about it, because they don't see that money.
Where's that money? So, thank you very much for listening. We were shocked to learn yesterday that people actually do listen to this thing, so...
Yeah, someone at the event said, hey, when do you do the podcast? And I'm like, you listen to it? What? Who listens to this thing? Apparently someone does. So thank you for that.
Nice to know we're not just sitting here for 2 hours on a Sunday wasting our time.
We're not wasting our time, we're drinking beer.
Okay, yeah, that is fair enough. But, on behalf of myself, and on behalf of John...
Thank you.
And on behalf of Will... who I think said goodbye,
Will.
but I think he's having a signal problem.
Yeah, his mumble is lighting up, but there is no voice. Will has taken a vow of silence. He has joined a monastery, and he is going to spend his days making Trappist beers for plebeians like me.
Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah.
Right. I had to unplug it and plug it back in. That's awful.
Oh, okay. Got a bit of an echo going on, but you're there.
I'll sort that out for next week.
All right.
So, yep, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, cheery, bye.